walking on cloud shine right now. Hey, this is Chris with Care Sola, out for a little stroll. The good thing about this quarantine is that it's providing more opportunity for me to stay focused at home and focus on loving my neighbor and other good things. So one of them is that when you go out for a stroll, like I'm going around a sign right now to help get around a guy who's riding his bicycle on the sidewalk and who happens to not show any signs of moving over. Most people that I'm running into are given a little berth. They're spreading out a little bit. I hear a guy coming up behind me right now, and he's gonna probably want me to scoot over. So I'm gonna scoot over. Let him go by. Good neighbor. And see some people out on the golf course. Let me see if I can spin around. There's a guy driving on the golf course. How fun is that? Wish I could do that. But right now, tightening down the belts a little bit. Trying to avoid spending too much because working from home, working remotely is less than it was before this. And a couple more people coming up behind. Want to make sure you hear them. Stay tuned in. Look for them up ahead. Give them social distancing you need to. Not out of fear, but out of love. Out of love for your neighbor. They're probably fine. You're fine. You know your conditions. But that doesn't mean that you should just assume that you can walk right by them. That wouldn't be a very loving thing to do, would it? Love your neighbor as yourself. You would take care of yourself. In fact, that's what you do naturally. You take care of yourself. And that, ladies and gentlemen, is the point. If you would naturally take care of yourself. Anybody coming behind me? No, I can move back to the sidewalk. Yeah. Oh, more people up front. Everybody's trying to get a morning stroll in. If you would naturally take care of yourself, then what should you do? It should be instinctive, honestly. It should be that when your neighbor comes in need, and their need right now is to be at a social distance, it should be natural for you to step aside, let them pass, like this nice lady. She stepped aside a little bit. Too many people out walking. Nice guy. Yep, it's that time. Somebody coming up in front of me. I'm going to have to step down into the street a little bit just to give enough clearance. Gotta have your clearance. And all these things are loving things to do for your neighbor. Did I already say not out of fear? Yeah. You don't know whether they have something or don't have something. In fact, in our area, it's probably likely that most people, I mean, if you have 1 million people in the big city, chances are most of them don't have anything. But out of love for neighbor, you step aside, you give the distance, you avoid crowds. But I'm so glad to see everybody out exercising this morning, getting a walk in. I didn't get a walk in yesterday, so I'm getting my walk in today because I'm going to have some chores to do around the house and maybe a little bit of work remotely. Thankfully, I don't know, 3 or 4 days before all this started, I asked my supervisor, my boss, if I should take one of the remote laptops home. They hadn't approached me with it yet, but I decided to approach them, and they said, sure, good idea. And sure enough, 3 days later, 4 days later, maybe the next week, because I think I asked them in the middle of the week, you should stay at home, Chris, along with all the other people, and you should, learn the process of doing all this from home. Now, that's an interesting story, sort of. I have an office at home, more of a study, I guess, where I keep all my theology books and all my study books and all that kind of stuff. And it's where I generally prepare my Bible studies, because I can reach up and grab a reference book, look through something, whether it's one of Luther's works or one of the big blue commentaries or a People's Commentary that CPH put out, or one of those books that some people write. Like, I have Matt Richards' book on the shelf. I have 3 of Pastor Fisk's books on the shelf. If you haven't read them, you should. Good thing to do during this quarantine. Broken, Echo, and now Without Flesh. And I've got 3 now of Pastor Wolfmiller's books. And Has American Christianity Failed being number 1, which is the one we're doing the Bible study on. So if you've made it this far in the video, and I hope you have, most people only listen 2 or 3 or 4 minutes. I hope you've stayed with us here, stayed with me. I always say us. It's like the, I don't know what that's called. I want to say the English you, or whatever, the collective you. It's like, people say places in the Bible have, they interpret where it says, and you will have, and they think it's talking to them personally. And it's really a y'all. I'm just me. Cafe Sola is just me. So for what it's worth, I always like to say, join us, join me. I probably go back and forth. Hang in there with that. I'll get better. But Pastor Wolfmiller's 3 books are Has American Christianity Failed? I already mentioned that. And his second one, which I'm reading slowly while I'm reading other things, is Martyr's Faith. And he just put out a 3rd one. And now I'm going to forget the name of it, but I'll put it in the notes if I can remember it. It's a good book. It's a short book. It's only like 80, 90 pages. But because I'm reading a couple other things, I'm not going to be able to just cruise through that, which I don't do anyway. I don't cruise through books. I have a tendency to read really slow. So all I really wanted to do was chat with you about loving neighbor today, and then tell you, go ahead and get out. Don't feel like you're confined to your house. Take your kids for a walk. Why not? Take yourself for a walk. Take your dog for a walk. And if your cat will cooperate, take your cat for a walk. But get outside and then just social distance. Don't be like some people, like a guy, when my wife was out on her walk or run yesterday, came up behind her because there was a sidewalk, not the widest sidewalk. He didn't clear around her and go into the grass or go into the underbrush around the area where she was walking. He ran right by her, probably thinking, if I get by her fast, won't be any social distancing needed or something. And he just lightly, part of his shirt probably brushed up against her shirt. That's a little too close. That's not loving neighbor. That is not loving neighbor. Oh, the camera's over here. That is not loving neighbor. So do your part. When you go to the grocery store, respect the fact that they're there doing work where they're exposed to people all day, even if the store is spreading out the workload so that nobody's exposed for any length of time. Just just be thankful that they're there. Be thankful for all the people that still have to work, still have to put themselves, potentially in harm's way, put themselves in danger. Like nurses. My oldest stepdaughter is a nurse. My wife's best friend is a nurse. My oldest sister's a nurse. Be careful.
Wait.
Ah, that was good. And I get the bump on that one so I can wash my hands when I get home. But pray for those people. Pray for the people that are doing everything they can to keep this economy going, keep taking care of us. It's not just police and firefighters and medical people, but it's all the oil companies, for crying out loud. What does that mean, for crying out loud? Do you want to cry out loud? I don't know. Oh, here's a guy giving good distance. What you want is to, if you're going to cry out loud, what should you cry out loud? You should cry out, Jesus is Lord. Up there, Jesus is Lord. And, but anyway, just pray for these people. Have mercy. Have compassion. When you go to the grocery store, don't be mean to them. Understand that they're doing their best. Their bosses are trying to get them to do their best. Not only because they want to take care of you, their neighbor, so that you'll still be able to come shop, I'm sure, keep them open. But also they want to take care of themselves, keep the economy going. Last night, our son, who's home from college, finishing his last semester, you probably already heard this story, haven't you? We'll do it again. He's gonna called us up, said, hey, I got a hankering for something that we haven't had in a while. Can we go to this local restaurant and support the local economy and get Carrie out there? I'm like, sure, because we were having his fiance over. I keep talking to my face instead of talking to you over here. He wanted to have his fiance over. We wanted to have her over and play some card games, watch a little TV. So we were going to have dinner, and I was going to cook dinner from some of our supplies. But he's like, can we just, I know we got to watch it, and watch the money and watch the distancing, but can we just get Carrie out from this place? So sure. So do that if you can. Go through a drive-thru. Everybody's trying to be safe. Everybody's wiping stuff down, washing their hands. We haven't started wiping down our groceries because, I don't know, just don't think it's necessary right now. Maybe it'll become necessary, but some people are. If you got something that's in a bag that the bag's not permeable and it's an alcohol wipe's not going to affect your food, feel free, I guess. Don't listen to me. I'm not giving you advice like the government, but we just wash our hands a lot. And that's another thing. A little peeve of mine. If you're at home, you're with your family, you're not going out and about, you're not shaking hands, you're not touching a bunch of stuff, just keep washing your hands like you would anyway, but longer. Not for 5 seconds, but for 20, 30 seconds. Do the tips of your fingers. That's important. How am I going to get around this lady? I really want to. So I'll go up into the brush here. That's what I'll do. That's just a young girl. She probably doesn't have anything or know any better. Don't want her to feel weird. Morning. And she was just going to keep listening to her headset. Bless her heart. She's just going to stay. She thought, oh, this the other side of the sidewalk is fine. Well, if I reach out with my hand, I can touch the other side of the sidewalk. That's only half the social distance. So, but even in situations like that, just be understanding, be compassionate. Some people think differently. Maybe some of them don't think, I don't know. But just be compassionate. Pray for your country, pray for the world, pray for your community, pray for your church, pray for your neighbor. Pray for your church, pray for your pastors. If you have not on a regular basis been praying for your church other than when you're in church, or praying for pastors except when you're in church, start doing that. See, I'm trying to give you the law. I'm trying to give you an order. But start doing that. Stop not doing it. Because we should be praying for our pastors and all those in authority anyway. So get out there. Get on your knees. I wish I had a kneeler at home. I've seen some people, like Reverend Harrison, has this little place set up with a kneeler and some, looks like some wood cuttings or something, I don't know. It's a good place for him to kneel and open his Bible, probably his Greek Bible, and read directly from the Greek. So, you're probably tired of listening to me jammer on, but good morning. I just wanted to say that keep in mind, this is actually a good opportunity to love your neighbor. It's a good opportunity to see people you don't normally see. In Houston, once we had a hurricane. Once. We have hurricanes fairly regularly. But we had a bad hurricane that shut stuff down for a while. And then there's back in 9/11 when things got shut down for a while. And people were getting out. Then you didn't have to social distance. But they were getting out. And they were meeting their neighbors. And then sure enough, as soon as crisis was over, guess what they did? Everybody gets back in the groove. And they stop going out and chatting with their neighbors. So, from a distance, across the yard, across the fence, you know, while you're walking, just say hi to people, be nice, be kind. And when you do go to the grocery store, honestly, if you need more than one 12-pack of toilet paper a week, I'm sorry, I'm not judging, but we've had the same pack of toilet paper now, big pack, might have been an 18-pack, don't know, since this whole thing started. And I hear people are running out. I'm like, what are you doing with the toilet paper? You know, I understand if you have kids, I understand if you have other situations going on, but, you know, the point isn't to yell at you so much, is to just say, you know, supplies are going to be there. The country can't not produce stuff and provide stuff. So you'll be able to get milk, you'll be able to get eggs, you'll be able to get cheese, you'll be able to get fruits and vegetables, you'll be able to get frozen food, you'll be able to get water and all sorts of things. You'll be able to get paper products. You'll be able to get paper towels, toilet paper, Kleenex. And someday, I haven't seen that day yet, you'll be able to get hand sanitizer again, if you need it. But if you're looking at the hand sanitizer aisle and right next to it is a bar soap or liquid soap aisle, even dish soap, like what you might, liquid soap, get some of that. But here's the thing, don't stop loving your neighbor in the process. And by that I mean, don't go out and take 2 or 4 or 6 or 8 of things and leave none for your neighbor. Leave stuff for your neighbor. If somebody else is going to hoard, you can't do anything about that. You just can't do anything about that. But you can control your behavior. Take care of your family. That's a very loving thing to do. Love your family first. Love your neighbor, you know, circles going out. You know, that kind of stuff. But first and foremost, just be loving to your neighbor. Pray for them. Be compassionate for them. To them. Be merciful. Be merciful. That's a good thing. These are all things we're called to do. So what do I want to leave you with today? I want to leave you with the fact that we are children of God. God has us. He's watching out for us. He's caring for us. And if you remember the line, if I misquote it, forgive me. Remember the line from Luther's Mighty Fortress. Take thee good fame, child, and wife, though these all be gone. The victory has been won. We have the victory in Christ. And that is the joy of our salvation. We have that victory. So when you think about it, Good morning. Worst case scenario, if, I hope this doesn't happen. I hope that this flattens and clamps down and gets cured. Worst case scenario, now they're saying 100, 200,000 people dead. That's why we should be praying. That is completely why we should be praying. And we shouldn't be surprised that this world contains death. But we aren't meant to fear that. We're meant to have hope. Hope like the world doesn't have. Whether it's sin, death, or the power of the devil or the world or whatever else comes after us, we have Christ. We have the victory. And it doesn't mean don't take care of yourself. It means love your neighbor and remember your baptism, stay in the faith, and share the good news with others. Speaking of sharing, I'm not going to put things on the screen because this is one of my walking videos, but there's places you can like on Facebook you could say, oh, I like that. You could follow Care Sola on Facebook. There's places you subscribe to things. And subscribing is the best part, because when you hit the subscribe button, particularly like on a podcast, you get notified when the next one is posted. The next Care Sola little thing is posted, which is going to be one coming up later today that I teased last night, that is going to be a little midweek Bible study that I did with a group of guys on the future of the church. Look for that and share these. If you think somebody else might just, who's shut in, would be encouraged by these, if you like them, if you're one of the 2 or 3 people that regularly watch them, share them. Then we'll have 6. They'll tell 2 friends, and so on and so on and so on and so on and so on, and that would be a good thing. I don't even know if I should strive to be as popular as Table Talk Radio or any of the Jonathan Fisk stuff or whatever, but I like recording these for you. I like putting them out there. The walking and driving videos are the best because I'm already doing something else. It doesn't take away from my day. But I would take time away from my day if the 150, 60 people that are subscribed to the YouTube channel would watch these on a fairly regular basis. I am getting more listens on Podbean and iTunes than I am necessarily views on the YouTube. So maybe I need to leave these here and just do a true podcast there. Maybe. We'll see. Got a month or 2 to think about it, don't I? That's it from this little walk around the neighborhood. I'm getting close to the house. And I just wanted to say, once again, love your neighbor as yourself. And all the while, love the Lord your God with all your heart, soul, mind, and strength, to the best of your ability. And when you get to the end of the day and you say, Lord, I did not love you or my neighbor as well as I should, just understand that there's forgiveness for that. That's what people need to remember, is all the parts of this life where we fail, where you walk too close to somebody or took a little extra stuff that somebody else could need for their family, or when you just forgot to call somebody and say hi, or text somebody and say hi, or have a Zoom meeting with somebody and say hi. There's forgiveness for that too in Christ, and make the next day a better day. This is Chris with Care Sola. Remember to tune in next time. God's blessings on your day.